Okay, so now here is something new to report. E-Day costs 400 million. So it has cost Gears of War E-Day $400 million to produce. Okay, hold on. I have a cat, and she just keeps walking around. She needs to go on the ground. Go down. Good girl. Okay, let's not use this one. E-Day costs. Gosh. Can I type? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Dexerto, Xbox, PlayStation, sorry, Xbox and PC only. The big kahuna. 400 million and it's on Game Pass. And I even responded to this. That's not good at all. Doubt this game sells 2 million copies on a good day. Like, it might work. It might. I literally do not believe Gears of War E-Day is going to make back its money. I think that this is completely ballooned out of proportion, and there is literally nothing that's going, like, maybe, right? Because like I think at a $400 million budget to make sales, they have to sell like what 8 million copies to be profit. I don't know how it took $400 million to make this game. Where? I like Concord cost $400 million. How did that happen? And that's just the tip of the iceberg for Concord. Like, this is so astronomically ballooned out of proportion. I don't understand how this guy, like, I'm hopeful for the game, but I'm hesitant to just, like, because I see the crap that's like, oh, this is the same shit that caused Gears of War 5 to not be good in my eyes, to be like the worst Gears of War we had. And Gears of War 5 multiplayer was okay. The bounce sliding, all that stuff is abysmal. They're slowing it down a bit to make it more tactical. And you're just looking at it, and it's like, and then you look at the requirements. So, ooh. Okay, let's see. Can I get this going? Ooh, I wonder if that pops up. I wonder if it spells that right. Huh, Redux, here we go. Yep. Now look at the requirements for this game, right? You need minimum GPUs, bro. So this is, I believe, high setting. Right? So this is the minimum GPU, RTX 5050 2060. So this is the the non you get the recommended GPU 3060 Ti's and stuff like this. This is like hyper intensive game. You got the fucking 10th generation processors. Okay, fine. The processors aren't too bad. Windows 10 minimum, Windows 11. You have to have a 130 gigabyte SSD for this game to be 140. Like, this game is going to require so much just to exist, just to be able to play it. Like, this is like the minimum settings just to have it run at 30 FPS effectively, right? Is going to be a 5050, an RTX 2060, or a Radeon. The 2060, that's not too bad. That's pretty old, but like, this is the graphics for NVIDIA G4. Like, it's a 3060 Ti for the recommended, and these are the minimums. And you're like, what are we playing? Like, what are we doing? Like, you need to have 16. Like, okay, you got 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, that's pretty easy. Fucking RAM sticks now, dude. Holy shit, 16 gigs of DDR5 is like $600, bro. Like, it is insane what's going on. And the game itself costs $400 million to make, and we're sitting here, it's like, oh yeah, here's the requirements, and it's like, what? And it's Unreal 5. So you're sitting here, it's like, okay, well, Unreal 5, Gears of War has always been Unreal, there's nothing really wrong with that, right? The problem is Unreal 5 is notorious for it being completely unreliable, and it takes some of the best people ever to just try to make it work. And you're sitting here, it's like, oh well, you gotta pay. It's not like, to be honest, that like the minimum requirements aren't too bad. It's just the recommended requirements, they're pretty high up there. 3060 Ti, it's a relatively new product, and you're basically like, if you don't have a 16 gigabytes of VRAM at this point in time, you can't really play games on medium settings anymore because you just don't have enough VRAM. And these games are like Unreal games, or you're never going to be able to play it. So like, I have a 4060 8 GB, right, VRAM. I'm probably not going to be able to play this game. I have to buy a 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte to be able to play this game. And it's insane. Or I could drop it on Game Pass, because here's the next problem for this game. They're trying to sell 7 million copies, but it's on Game Pass for $20. Game Pass, it's day one Game Pass, costs 400 million to make, and you're locking it to Game Pass. Now, here's the problem. How many people are going to subscribe to Game Pass just to play Gears of War-E-Day? Let's say 1 million people. What is the high, say it's on the Ultimate Edition, right? Game Pass Ultimate Edition cost, right? So it is $22.99, right? So they still increase the rate. So it's $22.99 for a Game Pass subscription for Ultimate to be able to play this day one, and it doesn't include most likely the pre-order for, instead of playing it on October 6th, you can play it on the 1st, right? $22. So that's 22. Let's say it's 24 after tax, right? Just to be fair, 24 after tax. That's $24 million for 1 million people. You're not even $100 million gone. And remember, Game Pass, right? The way Game Pass works, you buy Game Pass, that $22 is then disseminated into however many games are contracted into Game Pass, while also giving my Xbox a cut. So how much of the Game Pass, that $22, is actually going to go directly to Gears of War? I have no idea. Let's just be fair and say 100%. They still would need to sell like an additional 6 million copies. Now, you might get it on Steam. Steam, they tend to be, you might get, I would wager for Steam and Xbox, you might get the 6 million copies you need to sell to break even. You might. I don't see it. 3 million copies isn't enough. That's not even close. And then it's how, I forget how much it costs. I think they're selling it E-Day price. I think the standard edition $70, right? Let's go to Steam, view page. Oh my god. Let's do 2007. Can I see it? $70 for the pre-purchase. And then you want to have, you have the premium edition to play 5 days early. And so you got to pay $100 for the advanced. So you got to pay $100 to be able to play the game early on October 1st. So let's say you sell 1 million of the premium editions, and the ultimate editions that cost $300 or whatever the fuck, you sell 500,000. Definitely not doing that. It's not going to happen. Let's just be fair and say we're not going to talk about the actual big ultimate edition that comes with a statue, right? We're just going to say it's going to be the pre-purchase for the $100 edition, the 6 million. So you got to sell 100. You have to sell 100. Excuse me, 1 million of these for 100 million. That's a fourth of the way there. The standard edition, then you're gonna have to sell, probably 4 or 5 times as many of the premium editions. You're probably going to get people, streamers, let's say there's 10,000 streamers, they're all going to pay for this, right? Because you have to play the game on the pre-release date of the get it early, and if you don't, you just don't make content. So you're going to have probably 50 to 100,000 people pre-purchasing the game just to play early so they can stream it. Let's say it's 100,000, it's probably closer to 1,000. But let's be fair. You're still just not even close. You have to somehow scrape an additional 5 million sales. It's just not going to happen, and it's very worrisome, especially with all the layoffs going on. If this game doesn't at least break even for Xbox, because like let's look at the break even point, right? So Gears 5 is estimated to have been, I think, sold 3 to 6 million copies. Sorry, 3 to 7 million copies. It's estimated 3 to 7 million. Yeah, 3 million players in its first weekend. Problem was it was on Game Pass, so probably wasn't that. Comparative sales, it was 4.5 times less than Gears 4. and it was offset by Game Pass digital integration. So 41 million copies, still probably 23 to gross revenue with so basically they sold about a million copies on Steam for Gears 5. I'd say probably 3 times as much of that. So they sold about what, 4 million copies for Gears 5. I know I know the numbers were actually yeah, game fucking flopped. It was bad. It was bad. Yeah, brought in 3 million players in the first weekend. So we can say that it's not sales. Remember, that's the thing when it comes to these numbers, is that they're saying players and not sales. They're not copies. They're not copies sold. They're players because they're not actual. They're renting it from Game Pass, and they have to do it because they have to say it that way because it's just it launched. It launched well. It sold probably 3 to 7 million copies, right? And that's for the full lifetime of the game at $60. That's still barely breaking even, and its cost to make was probably 100 million. I just don't understand this ballooning of the $400 million mark. It's insane. I there was like rumors the game was going to be axed because it cost so much, and they were just going to take it on the chin. And I it's so baffling to me that this costs $400 million to make, and that's the minimum, right? So that's like what is normally the cost to make a game is about half of the total cost to make it. So it probably cost them $200 million to make Gears of War E-Day. That was when was the last time? When was Gears 5 released? I think it was in like 2017 or 2018. 2019. So 6 years, seven, excuse me, 7 years ago, they released the game. So Gears of War E-Day has effectively been, if they started E-Day development, which they didn't, they probably were doing Gear 7, and that's probably where a majority of this development cost came from, was that they were going to make Gear 7, Gears 6, and they scrapped Gear 6. They kept Unreal 5, scrapped Gear 6. It's like, well, let's do E-Day because it's going to make more numbers. And that's the only thing I could think of is that they scrapped the game to make the game better, to just make E-Day. So let's say $100 million was them dumpstering and scrapping the idea for Gear 6. And then it's like, we got to do something. And then that was $100 million, $200 for marketing, right? 200 million for, and then normally, so if it cost 200 million because they had a course correction after they realized Gear 6 was not going over well with their test groups, they said, you know what, fuck it, scrap it, $100 million more down the drain is what it is. We have to make a game that's going to sell well. So they do, okay, well, $200 million in marketing, we've been in development hell for only 3 years. It's pretty quick in coalition standard, and it's just not going to happen. I just like, if this game is not going to sell that much, it might, what was it? It was, what's that stupid Sony game? Ghost of Tsushima, but the second one, it's like Ghost of Yokohama something. I don't fucking remember. The game like supposedly sold 1 billion copies. Like, fucking, oh yeah, sure, sold like enough money to make its money back. I will have to say though, that game wasn't a $400 million to make. It was probably close to 100 million. And I still don't get where they're coming for this game. Like, how is it Gears 3 cost like what, like 10, 15 million to make? How is it Gears 3 did that and Gears of War E-Day is costing like 40 times that? Like it's way ballooning out of proportion. It requires 130 gigabytes of SSD, not even a hard drive like an HDD. It's a solid state drive. So it's like it's higher quality storage unit. So it's so frustrating because I just don't get it. And then you look, and the main thing is that there's already people like DEI detected in Gears of War E-Day. So you have culture warriors fighting over this, and it's like, I just want a good game. Some of the gameplay looked good. I've already talked about like my gripes about the trailer, but like the gameplay looked good. Max Carter, I think that's her name. She probably shouldn't have been in the game. I don't know why they added her. Should have just been all boys and just gone back to Delta, but call it Bravo. You have Ty, some new guy, and you have Dom, and you have Marcus. That's all you got to do. It's all you got to do. And you post that out, and then it kept it under $100 million. You probably would have made bank. It's hitting 400 million is just the point of no return. Because it's most likely more than that. It's reportedly cost the minimum is 400 million. I don't think they're breaking even. I think they're gonna with the Microsoft layoffs. I think Coalition's next. No, excuse me, not Microsoft. Xbox layoffs. Coalition's next. I just can't. I can't see how they're gonna get away with this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the premium edition sells 2 million copies across Xbox and Steam. You know, like 500,000 on Steam, 1.5 million on Xbox. Everyone's super hyped to play this game because everyone's super hyped to play Gears, the game that like on Steam chart. Let's see. Even though on Steam chart it's showing all-time peak of fucking 10,000 people. Excuse me, that's all. Yeah, 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 yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Steam charts isn't like perfect. Steam DB. Let's see. It's not showing that. So I'm clicking on buttons that I don't know how to do. But yeah, I'm not super confident in Gears of War E-Day performing well, but maybe the game's going to be good. Maybe it's just going to be a poorly, it's just going to be a poorly performing game that just a good game all around, and maybe that's enough to give them what they need to make Gear 6 and make it less. But yeah, I just don't see it. It's just going to be a problem, and I don't know what to do. It's just it's ridiculous. But yeah, $400 million, man, that's ridiculous.